Today we're talking with Michael Wilkerson, a Denver native and an East High School graduate who's now a global entrepreneur. You graduated from Stanford in 2009 with honors, yeah? And now you're working in Uganda.
That's right.
So can you tell us about that? How did you get there? What led you to this work?
Well, when I was 19, after my first year at Stanford, I loved my parents, but I thought maybe it'd be cool to do something besides moving back home to Denver for the summer. And I had a professor who encouraged me to look at what I could do abroad, and so I ended up as an intern at a local newspaper in Uganda called the Daily Monitor.
How did it go from that, from being a journalist there, to actually having a business, a global operation there?
Some stock that I bought when I was 13 and learned about the stock market, and the only company that I recognized, Marvel Entertainment, the comic book company, had shot up and was actually bought by Disney for $50 a share, and I bought it for about $2 a share. So I decided to sell it, and I went back to Uganda with some money that I hadn't been expecting, and my housemate, who was also a Canadian journalist, and I said, what are we going to do? Let's do something interesting with this money because we can afford to lose it. So we had a favorite motorcycle taxi guy, a boda driver named Mehdi. And I had known Mehdi since the first time I went there when I was 19, and he was my age, so at this time we were both 22. And Mehdi had gotten a loan to own his own motorcycle from another regular customer who, like us, thought he was a great, trustworthy guy. And when he finished that loan, he got another bike and sold the first bike for cash and used that cash to buy land for his mother and help build her a house in her village so she wouldn't have to rent anymore. So my housemate Matt and I knew Mehdi had done this and thought it was pretty cool. And he was on the verge of finishing his second bike, and so we said, hey Mehdi, tell us more about these motorcycle loans. Do you want another one? Do you have friends that want them? And he said, yeah, everybody wants them. So most people are just renting on a weekly basis with no end in sight. And the trick is that kind of the motorcycle landlords, they're not rich guys, it's not a company. Sometimes they have to sell the bike because they have to pay for their kids' school fees or something else. So all of a sudden you can be out of a job. But if you own your own motorcycle, you're in control, and not only of your job, but of what you do with the extra savings. And so our business started just by saying, hey, let's invest in Mehdi. We think he's a great guy. We didn't have a business plan. We didn't really know what our interest rate was, but we said, let's do it. Everyone said, you're crazy. That made us want to do it more. Our company is called Own Your Own Boda, and a Boda refers to bodas, which are the motorcycle taxis. So if you get on the back of one of these motorcycle taxis, you can go right through the traffic jam. So our business is helping these motorcycle taxi drivers own their own motorcycle instead of renting it indefinitely, because they can own it through us on a rent-to-own basis after about 16 to 18 months, after which their income more than doubles. And so then we also keep track of where that savings goes, and so far we've found that our customers who finish the loans have reinvested their savings in things like building houses, sending their kids to better schools, and helping start new businesses on the side.
So you started with Mehdi. You've done about 70 transactions now.
Yeah.
Are you still confined to the capital city, or do you have goals to spread out?
So one of the things that we have been working on is thinking about how do we grow, because we not only didn't have bikes stolen or lose them like all our friends said we would, but we were profitable, and so we reinvested those profits. So we only bought about 15 bikes at the beginning 2 years ago. And the growth to 70 has been solely from reinvesting all of the money. So our goal in the next year is to grow to about 250 bikes just in the capital, just Kampala. It's Mehdi and myself and Matt, who are all shareholders, along with a successful Ugandan journalist named Andrew Mwenda, who was a mentor of mine as a journalist and was the one who, when we had about 7 bikes, said, guys, it's not just that they're not getting stolen, you're changing the trajectory of people's lives. Let's get this bigger. And so he invested. So Andrew and Mehdi together right now have 51%. So it's a Ugandan majority owned company. And that's important to us.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years from now, both yourself individually and the business?
I see myself as happy because I like to take advantage of things that excite me as they come. And right now, nothing excites me more than moving back to Uganda and seeing if we can take this to thousands or tens of thousands of motorcycles in Uganda and surrounding countries that also use motorcycle taxis. But we're also thinking of other ways we can help empower self-employed entrepreneurs, people who just need to own their own tools. So we're thinking sewing machines for tailors, anything where somebody needs an expensive piece of equipment and can't afford to buy it all in one go. We hope we can help them. So it starts with motorcycles, but
the sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit.
Are you still a practicing journalist?
I am. Luckily, no one can take away my license to practice. So I have written mostly for Foreign Policy magazine, and I most recently wrote about Uganda for that magazine and others in March and April of this year, when there was this Kony 2012 viral video. And it deeply upset me.
Can you explain just very briefly for anyone who's not familiar with that?
Sure. So this video was promoting the idea that the U.S. and other powerful countries should help tackle or take out this warlord named Joseph Kony, who leads a former rebel group that's now basically just terrorists called the Lord's Resistance Army. And they used to operate in Uganda, but were driven out in 2006 and have been operating at a very low level just outside of Uganda's borders in other countries like the Eastern Congo. But this video, which was intended to make people motivated to pressure to go get this rebel group, left out the fact that they're not in Uganda anymore, that Uganda's been peaceful since 2006. It also had a disturbing narrative from my point of view, from my Ugandan journalist friend's point of view, which basically showed a couple white guys showing up, discovering this problem, and resolving to go show the rest of the world, which completely negated any local agency in tackling this problem. And additionally, just as one quick other thing, Uganda has problems. There's immense corruption. The president has been in power longer than I've been alive. And framing Uganda to the world, to however many million people saw this video, in terms of Joseph Kony, who honestly is not that big of a threat. I mean, it's still a problem. There's still child soldiers, and that's really bad. But making that the #1 definition of Uganda to most people damages the good things that are happening in Uganda. It was named the #1 tourist destination for 2012 by Lonely Planet. But it also distracts from tackling the bad things that are still happening.
How can you inspire other young people to follow in your footsteps or to tackle, global work?
Meeting some of the other really amazing entrepreneurs at the Unreasonable Institute, which is another Colorado-born great piece of work, one of the things that united us was a common attitude of saying, why not? If we see an opportunity or we see a problem, instead of just shrugging or saying it's too hard, it's too difficult, everyone says, why not? Let's give it a try. Or you're presented with an opportunity like moving to Uganda at age 19, most people would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I just said, why not? And so I think that attitude, more than anything else, it can open up a lot of doors that you might not even see.
And so now you're going back to Uganda for an indefinite period of time. You're going to make it your home for the foreseeable future.
For the first time, I'm moving there with no end date, and that's incredibly exciting.
Now, do you have a website where people can go for more information about the company?
We do. It's www.oyob.com or ownyourownboda.com.
Well, congratulations to you on all your great work. We look forward to following your progress.
I think that's it for now, other than to say that people who are interested in companies like mine should check out the Unreasonable Institute, which is based in Boulder and every year brings in 20+ for-profit social entrepreneurs making an incredible impact around the world. And so if you're interested in things that are not just motorcycles and tackling poverty, some of my friends are turning sewage plants into energy generation in Ghana or making better cooking stoves. So that's just this year.